Imagine this. You're standing outside a tall glass building, dressed for the most important interview of your life. Your phone buzzes final round, don't be late. Then you see a girl struggling on the sidewalk, books scattered, tears in her eyes. You hesitate, help her, or protect your future. This is the story of a young man who chose kindness and appeared to lose everything for it, unaware that the girl he helped was the CEO daughter. Character is not something we display when life is easy, comfortable, or predictable. It is revealed in moments of tension, when time is short, emotions are high, and the consequences of our decisions feel heavy. Anyone can appear kind, honest, or generous when nothing is at risk. But when a person stands to lose something important, that is when character speaks the loudest. In this story, the young man was under immense pressure. He wasn't walking casually down the street with nowhere to be. He was heading toward a job opportunity that could change his life. This interview represented months, perhaps years, of hard work, preparation, and hope. His future depended on being on time, making a strong impression, and proving himself worthy of the role. The pressure was real, immediate, and personal. At that moment, helping a stranger was not part of the plan. In fact, it was a disruption. The girl on the sidewalk was not connected to his goals, his career, or his ambitions. From a practical perspective, stopping to help her made no sense. Society often teaches us that success belongs to those who focus only on their objectives, who ignore distractions, and who prioritize personal gain above all else. Under pressure, many people follow that lesson without hesitation. But pressure has a way of stripping away excuses and revealing who we truly are. When the young man saw the girl in distress, he faced an internal conflict. On one side was fear, the fear of being late, the fear of losing the opportunity, the fear of regret. On the other side was conscience, the quiet voice reminding him that someone needed help in that moment. No one was watching. There was no reward promised. There was no guarantee that his action would be recognized or appreciated. This is where character stepped in. Character is not defined by what we say we believe. It is defined by what we do when believing costs us something. The young man could have walked away and justified it easily. He could have told himself that someone else would help. He could have blamed the situation on bad timing. He could have convinced himself that his future mattered more than a stranger's temporary problem. Many people do exactly that, and no one would have questioned him, but he didn't. He chose to help because, under pressure, his values guided his actions. That decision did not come from logic or strategy. It came from identity. It showed that compassion was not something he practiced only when convenient. It was part of who he was. That is the essence of character, acting in alignment with your values even when the outcome is uncertain or unfavorable. Pressure often exposes priorities. In stressful moments, we instinctively protect what matters most to us. For some, that is status, money, or success. For others, it is dignity, empathy, and human connection. The young man's choice revealed that he valued humanity over ambition, at least in that moment. That does not mean he lacked ambition. It means ambition did not control him. This distinction is important. Character does not require abandoning goals or dreams. It requires refusing to sacrifice principles to achieve them. The young man did not help the girl because he thought it would benefit him later. He helped because ignoring her would have conflicted with who he believed himself to be. Under pressure, he chose integrity over urgency. In today's world, pressure is constant. Deadlines, competition, expectations, and fear of falling behind push people to make decisions quickly and often selfishly. We are praised for being efficient, fast, and focused, but rarely for being patient or compassionate when it slows us down. As a result, many people learn to silence their conscience when pressure appears. Over time, this habit shapes who they become. Moments like the one in this story are turning points. They are small in appearance but powerful in impact. They force a choice between convenience and conscience. And while the consequences may not be immediately visible, the decision leaves a permanent mark on one's character. The young man may have lost the job opportunity that day, but under pressure, he proved something far more valuable than punctuality or performance. He proved that when faced with a difficult choice, he would not compromise his values. That kind of character cannot be taught in interviews or measured on resumes. It is forged in moments of pressure when doing the right thing feels costly. Pressure does not create character, it reveals it. Kindness is one of the few actions in life that does not always show its value immediately. In fact, kindness often appears to cost us something before it gives anything back. Time, energy, opportunity, recognition. These are the things kindness frequently demands upfront. That is why, in moments of urgency or competition, kindness is often the first thing people abandon. It feels impractical, it feels risky, and most of all, it feels like a loss. For the young man in this story, kindness came with an immediate and visible cost. By stopping to help the girl, he lost precious minutes. Those minutes were not insignificant. They stood between him and a life-changing opportunity. The interview was not just another appointment. It represented security, progress, and hope. From the outside, his decision looked foolish. From a results-driven perspective, kindness had failed him. This is the uncomfortable truth about kindness. It does not guarantee instant rewards. Unlike transactional actions, kindness operates without contracts or timelines. You give without knowing what you will receive in return, or if you will receive anything at all. In a world that measures success through immediate outcomes, kindness often appears inefficient and unproductive. The moment the young man arrived late, the loss became real. The doors were closed, the opportunity was gone. There was no explanation that could undo the situation. At that point, kindness did not feel noble. It felt punishing. Regret likely crept in, bringing questions that haunt many good decisions. Was it worth it? Should I have just walked away? Did I make the wrong choice? These questions arise because we are conditioned to evaluate decisions by their short-term results. If something leads to success, we call it smart. If it leads to failure, we call it a mistake. But kindness challenges this way of thinking. It asks us to trust that not all value is visible immediately and not all losses are permanent. Kindness often disguises itself as loss because it delays its reward. Unlike ambition, which offers quick validation, kindness works quietly and slowly. It does not announce itself. It does not demand recognition. It simply exists, waiting for the right moment to reveal its impact. That delay makes kindness difficult to choose, especially when something important is at stake. In this story, the young man had no evidence that his kindness mattered. The girl did not promise anything in return. No one praised him. No opportunity reopened itself instantly. From his perspective, all he had gained was a missed interview and a heavy sense of disappointment. This is the point at which many people decide never to make the same choice again. They conclude that kindness is a luxury they cannot afford. But kindness is not an investment with guaranteed returns. It is a reflection of values. Its purpose is not to secure rewards but to affirm humanity. When we help someone without expecting anything back, we reinforce a world where people matter more than outcomes. That principle does not always pay off immediately, but it shapes lives in ways that ambition alone never can. What makes kindness powerful is precisely what makes it difficult: uncertainty. You act without control over the outcome. You give without knowing the result. And that lack of certainty makes kindness feel like vulnerability. It exposes us to loss, disappointment, and misunderstanding. Yet it is through that vulnerability that trust, connection, and respect are eventually built. Many of the most meaningful moments in life begin as apparent losses. A missed opportunity can redirect a path. A delayed success can lead to a better one. A sacrifice made in silence can echo louder than a victory celebrated publicly. Kindness belongs to this category of quiet actions whose value cannot be measured in the moment they are performed. The young man's experience reminds us that not every loss is final, and not every gain is visible. Just because kindness costs us something today does not mean it will leave us empty tomorrow. Often, the very act we believe set us back is the one that defines who we become and how others see us. Kindness may close a door in the short term, but it opens something deeper, a reputation, a trust, a moral strength that cannot be taken away. Even when the world does not immediately reward kindness, it records it in ways we may never fully see. One of the most powerful lessons in this story is how limited our understanding is in everyday encounters. We move through life making quick judgments based on appearances, assumptions, and surface-level details. We decide who matters, who is important, and who deserves our time based on what we can immediately see. Yet the truth is simple and often uncomfortable. We never truly know who we are helping. When the young man saw the girl on the sidewalk, he did not see influence, authority, or power. He saw vulnerability. He saw someone struggling, someone in need of assistance. There were no visible signs that she came from privilege or held any connection to the company he was about to enter. To him, she was just another stranger in a busy world, easy to ignore and forget. This moment highlights how often kindness is filtered through assumptions. Many people unconsciously decide who deserves help based on perceived status. We are quicker to be polite to those who seem important and more dismissive toward those who appear insignificant. This behavior is not always intentional. It is often learned through social conditioning. Society teaches us to value titles, wealth, and power, even when we pretend not to. The young man did not stop to evaluate the girl's background or potential usefulness. He did not ask who she was or what she could offer him in return. His decision was based solely on need. In doing so, he treated her not as a category or a social rank, but as a human being. That choice reflects a level of humility and fairness that is rare in a world obsessed with hierarchy. The idea that we never know who we are helping goes beyond hidden identities or surprising revelations. It speaks to the broader reality that every person carries unseen influence. Someone who appears powerless today may be powerful tomorrow. Someone who seems ordinary may hold extraordinary responsibility. Someone who looks insignificant may be deeply connected in ways we cannot imagine. This uncertainty is what gives every act of kindness weight. When we help without knowing who the person is, we remove ego from the equation. We are no longer helping to be seen or rewarded. We are helping because it is right. That kind of kindness is pure, and it builds trust in ways that strategic behavior never can. In professional environments especially, this lesson is critical. Many opportunities are shaped not by resumes or interviews, but by informal impressions and personal stories. People observe how others treat those who cannot offer them anything. They notice whether respect is selective or universal. A person's true nature is often revealed not in how they treat superiors, but in how they treat strangers. The young man's action demonstrated consistency. He did not change his behavior based on who he thought the girl was. His respect was not conditional. This consistency is what makes character credible. Anyone can be polite to someone important. It takes integrity to be kind to someone you believe has no influence over your future. Another important aspect of this lesson is empathy. When we assume we know who someone is, we stop listening and stop caring. But when we accept that we do not know their story, we become more open, patient, and understanding. The girl on the sidewalk had her own fears, pressures, and responsibilities, unknown to the young man, yet just as real as his own. Recognizing that we never know who we are helping encourages humility. It reminds us that status is temporary and appearances are unreliable. Power shifts, roles change. Today's stranger could be tomorrow's decision maker, but more importantly, today's stranger is already worthy of dignity, regardless of who they may become. This principle also challenges the way we define value. If kindness is only extended when there is something to gain, then it is no longer kindness, it is strategy. True kindness exists when there is no visible benefit, when the person receiving help cannot repay us, and when no one is watching. The young man's choice teaches us that every interaction carries unseen significance. Every person we encounter is more than what they appear to be in that moment. When we choose compassion without knowing the outcome, we align ourselves with a deeper sense of humanity, one that does not depend on titles, positions, or power. Talent can open doors, but integrity determines whether those doors remain open. In a world that celebrates skill, intelligence, and achievement, integrity often receives far less attention, yet it is the foundation upon which lasting success is built. Skills can impress in moments. Integrity defines a person over time. This story clearly illustrates that while talent may get you noticed, integrity is what earns trust. The young man undoubtedly possessed the talent required for the job. He had reached the final stage of the interview process, which means his qualifications, abilities, and potential had already been recognized. His resume spoke for him. His experience placed him among the top candidates. On paper, he was suitable, yet the situation he encountered outside the building tested something no resume could capture. Integrity is the alignment between values and actions. It is doing the right thing even when it is inconvenient, costly, or unseen. Unlike talent, integrity cannot be demonstrated through words alone. It is proven through behavior, especially when there is nothing to gain. The young man's decision to help the girl showed that his moral compass functioned independently of personal benefit. In professional environments, talent is common. Many people are skilled, educated, and capable. What separates individuals is not what they can do, but who they are when faced with ethical choices. Organizations do not fail because of a lack of talent. They fail because of a lack of integrity. Trust, once broken, cannot be repaired by skill alone. The young man's action revealed reliability at a deeper level. If someone is willing to compromise basic human values for personal advancement, that willingness will eventually surface in larger, more damaging ways. A person who ignores someone in need to protect their own success may also ignore ethical boundaries when pressured by deadlines, profits, or competition. Integrity is especially valuable because it operates consistently. Talent can fluctuate. Skills can become outdated. Performance can decline under stress. But integrity provides stability. It ensures that decisions are guided by principles rather than impulses. Employers, leaders, and institutions value this consistency because it reduces risk and builds credibility. The situation also highlights how integrity often goes unnoticed until it is tested. In interviews, people speak confidently about honesty, teamwork, and responsibility. But real integrity appears when those values conflict with personal interest. The young man was not asked a moral question in a conference room. He encountered one in real life without preparation. Another important aspect is that integrity cannot be taught quickly. Skills can be trained. Knowledge can be acquired. Integrity is shaped over time through habits, upbringing, and repeated choices. When someone demonstrates integrity under pressure, it signals long-term reliability. It suggests that this person will make ethical decisions even when supervision is absent. In leadership and professional settings, integrity builds influence. People follow those they trust, not just those who are capable. A talented individual without integrity may achieve short-term success but will struggle to sustain respect. Over time, people notice patterns. They observe how decisions are made, how others are treated, and whether values are consistent. The young man's choice, though costly in the moment, communicated something powerful. He could be trusted. He showed that his principles were not negotiable. That message carries far more weight than any technical skill. It suggests that he would treat colleagues fairly, handle responsibility ethically, and represent the organization with honor. This lesson challenges the common belief that success requires sacrificing values. It proves that while talent may accelerate progress, integrity defines direction. Without integrity, talent becomes dangerous. With integrity, even ordinary talent can lead to extraordinary outcomes. In the long run, the world remembers not just what people achieve, but how they achieve it. Integrity ensures that success is not only reached, but deserved. Values are easy to claim, but difficult to live by. Anyone can speak about honesty, kindness, and responsibility when there is no cost attached. But the world does not reward values simply because we declare them, it tests them first. Before integrity is honored, before kindness is appreciated, before morality is acknowledged, it is often challenged in ways that feel unfair and discouraging. The young man's experience is a clear example of this reality. He did not receive immediate praise for his good deed. Instead, he faced what looked like a penalty. By choosing to help the girl, he failed the test of punctuality, professionalism, and performance, at least on the surface. The system did not pause to ask why he was late. The opportunity vanished without explanation. From his perspective, the world responded to his values with rejection. This is how value-based decisions often unfold. When someone chooses principles over personal gain, the outcome initially appears negative. The world seems indifferent to intentions and focused only on results. This creates a painful conflict. If doing the right thing leads to loss, is it still worth doing? That question lies at the heart of every moral test. The testing of values is rarely obvious. It does not come with clear instructions or moral labels. The young man was not told he was being tested. He did not know that his decision would later be evaluated or understood. The test appeared ordinary, a simple choice between helping someone and protecting his own interest. Yet hidden within that moment was a deeper assessment of who he was when faced with competing priorities. The world tests values by placing them in tension with desire. Ambition conflicts with compassion. Fear clashes with honesty. Convenience challenges responsibility. These tests are uncomfortable because they force us to choose without knowing the outcome. There is no reassurance that the right choice will be rewarded. In fact, it often seems more likely to be punished. Many people fail these tests not because they lack values, but because they expect immediate validation. When rewards do not appear quickly, doubt creeps in. They begin to believe that principles are a disadvantage in a competitive world. Over time, this belief erodes moral standards, replacing them with survival-based thinking. What makes the young man's decision significant is that he passed the test without knowing it was one. He acted according to his values even when the result contradicted his hopes. That willingness to stand by principles in the face of apparent loss is rare. It reflects internal strength rather than external motivation. Testing values before rewarding them serves a purpose. It separates those who live by their principles from those who only reference them. If rewards came first, values would become tools rather than truths. People would act ethically only when it benefited them. The test ensures authenticity. It confirms that the choice was made because it was right, not because it was profitable. This pattern appears repeatedly in life. People who speak the truth may face rejection before earning respect. Those who refuse to compromise may be overlooked before being trusted. Those who show kindness may be taken for granted before being valued. The delay does not invalidate the choice, it strengthens it. The young man's loss was not the final outcome, it was the examination phase. By enduring the negative consequence without abandoning his values, he demonstrated resilience. That resilience is essential because rewards that follow untested values are shallow, while rewards that follow tested values are meaningful. Understanding this lesson changes how we interpret setbacks. Instead of seeing them as proof of failure, we can recognize them as moments of evaluation. The absence of immediate reward does not mean the world has ignored our values. It may mean it is measuring them. Values that survive testing gain credibility. They become part of a person's identity rather than a temporary choice. And when the world finally does reward them, it is not out of pity or coincidence, but because proven values create trust, respect, and long-term impact. Success is often defined by titles, salaries, and social status. From an early age, people are taught to chase achievement, climb ladders, and measure their worth by outcomes. While these markers are not meaningless, they are incomplete. True success does not begin with position or recognition. It begins with humanity, the ability to see, respect, and care for others, even when doing so offers no immediate advantage. The young man's story challenges the traditional definition of success. At the moment he stopped to help the girl, he acted in a way that appeared to move him further away from success. He risked his future for someone he did not know. According to conventional standards, this choice was irrational. Yet it revealed a deeper understanding of what it means to succeed as a human being before succeeding professionally. Humanity is the foundation of every meaningful accomplishment. Without it, success becomes hollow. People may achieve power, wealth, or influence, but without compassion and empathy, those achievements lack purpose. The young man demonstrated that his sense of worth was not dependent solely on external validation. He valued doing what was right over being seen as successful in that moment. True success requires recognizing that progress is not just personal, it is collective. Every society, organization, and institution depends on cooperation, trust, and mutual respect. When individuals prioritize humanity, they contribute to environments where people feel valued and supported. These environments, in turn, create sustainable success rather than short-lived victories. The young man's action showed emotional intelligence, an often overlooked component of success. Emotional intelligence involves awareness of others' needs, the ability to respond with empathy, and the discipline to act responsibly under pressure. These qualities are essential in leadership, teamwork, and decision-making. They cannot be replaced by technical skill alone. Another important aspect of humanity is perspective. When people become consumed by personal ambition, their world narrows. They see obstacles instead of people and competition instead of connection. By stopping to help the girl, the young man widened his perspective. He acknowledged that someone else's struggle mattered, even when his own goals felt urgent. This ability to step outside oneself is a sign of maturity and inner strength. Humanity also shapes reputation in ways that achievement alone cannot. People may forget job titles, but they remember how someone made them feel. They remember kindness shown during difficult moments. They remember who treated them with dignity when it was unnecessary to do so. These memories form narratives that travel far beyond resumes and interviews. Success that begins with humanity is resilient. Careers can fail. Opportunities can disappear. Circumstances can change overnight. But humanity anchors a person through uncertainty. It provides a moral center that guides decisions even when external structures collapse. The young man's choice indicated that his identity was not fragile or dependent on a single opportunity. This lesson also reminds us that success is not a destination, but a way of moving through the world. It is reflected in daily choices, small interactions, and quiet decisions that no one applauds. Helping someone in need may not look like success, but it builds the kind of character that attracts trust, respect, and long-term opportunity. When humanity leads, success follows in forms that are often unexpected but deeply meaningful. It may arrive later. It may arrive differently than planned, but it carries substance, not emptiness. The young man's story illustrates that before we become professionals, leaders, or achievers, we are human beings, and honoring that truth is the first step toward real success. In the end, this story is not about a lost interview or a surprising revelation. It is about the kind of person we choose to be when no one is watching and when something important is on the line. The young man did not succeed because of luck, connections, or timing. He succeeded because he refused to abandon his humanity. Life will place each of us in moments where doing the right thing feels costly and unrewarded. In those moments, we must remember that opportunities can be replaced, but character cannot. Jobs may come and go, but the values we live by shape our future in ways we cannot always predict. So when faced with a choice between getting ahead and doing what is right, choose humanity. Because true success is not measured by what we gain, but by what we are willing to give. And sometimes, the very act that seems to set us back is the one that moves us forward the most.